Wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Okay, welcome back. We are now into our second video here, and we want to get to, inshallah, shortly the passages from the Bible as we discuss sexuality or sexual content, illicit sexual content in the Bible, per the comments of CL Edwards, who thought that some hadith were irrational and didn't make sense because of its sexual nature. So we wanted to bring out, since CL wanted to deal with sexual content, let's see what the Bible says about sexual content. He opened the door, and we won't close it until they have submitted to the fact that they have no grounds to stand upon by ever opening their mouths about sexual content in the hadith of Islam. Now, we talked about before, CL likes to use this catchphrase, try to create shock and awe. Everything is sex slaves, sex slaves, sex slaves. So let's deal with this terminology, because it's a derogatory word that they use to try to make Islam just seem so bad, sex slaves. So let's look at it in passing as we get to the meat of the matter. So he said, if they are not sex slaves, then what are they? What would you call them instead? I said they are called wives. And this is the women that's given to the men in paradise for their companionship. He says, laugh out loud. So the virgins that are taking the virgins that the talking cloud rains down are also wives. Again, this point here, these women that's supposed to come down from talking clouds was something that the Sahaba said. This was something, it wasn't even a Sahaba, it was a Tabi. This was something he said that if he had opportunity, he would request that God rain down upon him women. This is not what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. So, even to answer this is a waste of time, because this is not a hadith from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet mentioned, according to him, about the clouds raining down upon a person whatever they wanted, but the man himself is the one that said that he would ask God to rain down upon him women for his pleasure. So then I said they are all wives. So whatever is given to men in paradise are wives. And I see that you insist on using an unsubstantiated hadith. Typical attack by any means, even if you claim to know better. If that's not straw man, then there is no such thing. I might as well quote from the Gospel of Barnabas. And I'm making a point here about just quoting hadith or anything that's not authentic. Any legal spouse in heaven is your wife. There's no need for a contract or a dowry and witness like that we have in the world. God has given these wives to the man if he so desired. But listen closely, because we're getting to the crux here. Just as God, according to the Bible, gave David all of his wives. Just as God, according to the Bible, gave David all of his wives. So hypocritical this religion teaches you to be, huh? He says, please show me where exactly do you see what you claim in this passage. Waiting, this would be very interesting. And then he posted Genesis about what we discussed about Eve being created for Adam. So I told back, I said, I see that you have yet to open your sinful mouth about why does it should be give this typo about why does God use and condone such illicit sexual content in his holy word. Nor have you said a peep about a man seeing the private organs of God. Caps for emphasis. He doesn't deal with it. Then he quotes a verse from the Quran about having all you desire. So now let us get to the first verse that we want to deal with. And this is the verse in Ezekiel 23, chapter 23. We're going to read these verses, and I'm asking you to brace yourself, because this is some sexual explicit verses. So we're going to go to Ezekiel 23, and we're going to bring out from this chapter what it says and how it says it. So let us go there and let us listen and see. And then we are challenging CL to come back with a video, come back with some kind of response, and explain the sexual nature of such verses and other ones as we will see in the coming moments. Let us start from chapter 23, verses, the first verse, up until we read to about 21, and then we'll conclude at there. Ezekiel 23. The two adulterous sisters. The two adulterous sisters. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, there were two women, daughters of the same mother. They became prostitutes in Egypt, engaging in prostitution from their youth. In that land their breasts were fondled and their virgin bosoms caressed. The older was named Aholah, and his sister was Aholibah. They were mine and gave birth to sons and daughters. Aholah is Samaria, and Aholibah is Jerusalem. So it states clearly in verse 1 that this is a parable. We're not going to negate that it's not a parable. The question is, why such a sexual, explicit, illicit parable needs to be used? And according to this Bible, this is God talking. This is God talking. So CL, let's answer this question for us, please, and explain why is God using, according to your Bible, using such despicable sexual content. It goes on. Aholah engaged in prostitution while she was still mine, and she lusted after her lovers, the Assyrians, warriors, clothed in blue, governors and commanders, all of them handsome young men and mounted horsemen. She gave herself as a prostitute to all the elite of the Assyrians and defiled herself with all the idols of everyone she lusted after. She did not give up the prostitution she began in Egypt, when during her youth men slept with her, caressed her virgin bosom, and poured out their lust on her. Wow. Caressed her virgin bosom and poured out their lust on her. What does that mean? Goodness. Therefore I delivered her into the hands of her lovers, the Assyrians, for whom she lusted. They stripped her naked, took away her sons and daughters, and killed her with the sword. She became a byword among women, and the punishment was inflicted on her. Her sister Aholibah saw this. Yet in her lust and prostitution, she was more depraved than her sister. She too lusted after the Assyrians, governors and commanders, warriors in full dress, mounted horsemen, all handsome young men. I saw that she too defiled herself. Both of them went the same way. But she carried her prostitution still further. She saw men portrayed on the wall, figures of Chaldeans portrayed in red with belts around their waists and flowing turbans on their heads. All of them looked like Babylonian chariot officers, natives of Chaldea. As soon as she saw them, she lusted after them and sent messengers to them in Chaldea. Then the Babylonians came to her to the bed of love, and in their lust they defiled her. After she had been defiled by them, she turned away from them in disgust. When she carried on her prostitution openly and exposed her naked body, I turned away from her in disgust, just as I turned away from her sister. Yet she became more and more promiscuous as she recalled the days of her youth when she was a prostitute in Egypt. Listen here. Wow. There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions was that of horses. This is the Bible. There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions was like that of horses. So you long for the lewdness of your youth, when in Egypt your bosom was caressed, and your young breasts fondled. This is the Bible. This is what it says. And yes, this is a parable and it don't really mean that. Is there not a better way to explain this parable other than such explicit sexual nature? So CL Edwards, David Wood, Sam Shimon, Christian Prince, who these guys are notorious, you know what I'm saying, for their foul and despicable nature. Why don't you come before the people and explain why in your holy book is God talking in such a despicable manner? Would any of you read this to your daughters? Any of you read this as a nighttime story, a bedtime story to your daughters? I dare you. I dare you to come back and make a video and read it. Nevertheless, read to your daughters. I challenge all of you to come back and read this sick content in your holy book. And you dare to open your mouth and say something about paradise, which is a reward for men who strove hard in the cause of God, that God gave them women to enjoy themselves in paradise, that God gave them food to enjoy in paradise, and God gave them fruit to enjoy paradise, and whatever they desire of goodness in paradise, God gave it to them. Yet here in the earth, we have to be subject to such despicable content in the holy book. You have lost your brains. You have lost your brains. And this is what we want to end with on this video. Stay tuned for the next couple of videos right after this one to cover more content. Like for instance, God, according to the Bible, one man seen his sexual organs. Can you believe that? They seen the loins of God in the Bible. Yes, in the Bible. Stay tuned. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى على سيدنا محمد.